go to a beautiful wooded area, go to a park, go to a reserve, somewhere that has good trees. Has to be a good tree, none of the spindly nonsense.
Hello and welcome back to Demystifying Child's Play, the podcast where we talk about play schemas. But today, if you've listened to part one, you'll know it's a little bit different because we are talking about play schemas, but we're talking about them more from an adult's view of how we can look after ourselves, especially with Mother's Day around the corner. So I'm Ruth and I've got my wonderful friend Hannah here with me. If you haven't listened to part one, pause, go back, listen to the introduction, listen to the first few schemas, and then jump back in here because it'll make so much more sense and you'll be able to get the whole list. As I said in the first one, if you would like this whole list, head over to our website, which is playschemas.com, and then you can go to this episode. If you would like the whole list, make sure you go to playschemas.com/024, which is episode 24, where we're going to be talking about this, or head over to Instagram at play_schemas, which is SCHEMAS, and you can get lots of information there and flick me a message and I'll be able to send things right over to you. Okay, Hannah. We're going to jump straight in with enclosure. So it's like enveloping, but there's some slight differences. So enclosure is creating those boundaries or spaces by surrounding objects with yourself, with blocks, with lines, or other materials. So how would you do enclosure, Hannah?
I'm a hugger, as you know, Ruth. So if you're a hugger, I think being held is a beautiful way to feel that enclosure. It could be being hugged by a partner, it could be being hugged by a child, it could be hugging a pet, or it could even be hugging yourself in that really cozy wee nook you've placed and just noticing those warm feelings and letting it soothe you. I just think a good hug is the most wonderful thing.
I completely agree there. And just listening to these ways of self-care really align with the love languages, which we've just done a series on. So thinking about that in connection, just having that physical connection with someone really supports your growth. And with play schemas, if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, you'll know that quite often play schemas don't actually just go in silos. Quite often they merge together. So with that one, you've got the connection one filling in together. So they really go well together. What I was thinking was taking a bath with the door closed. So you've got yourself enclosed in the bath and you've got yourself enclosed in the room. You've got time on your own. I really enjoy a hot bath where I can either read or watch a movie or just drink a cup of tea slowly and just be lost in my brain. Just quiet, warm. It sends a really strong signal to your nervous system that you're safe and that you're cared for. You can give that a go. If you've got time, and again, don't feel guilty. You're allowed to use this time for self-care. And taking a quick shower is not self-care. That's just looking after your body and keeping yourself clean. It would be a long shower or a shower where you're not waiting for baby to cry. So have a think about how you can do self-care like that. Okay. Let's now move on to rotation, which is a fascination with things that spin or turn like wheels, twirling or spinning yourself. So Hannah, what do you think about rotation?
So if your child is happy and into it and wholeheartedly keen, pick them up and spin round with them. Hold them close. Notice if they laugh. Notice how that makes you feel if they laugh. And just enjoy the silliness of how it feels.
I absolutely love that. I would add to it, do it with your favorite song. So it can be a real fun, joyful, light moment to just release this tension, connect with your body and connect with kids as well. So you can do it on your own, but it is a lot of fun with your kids. I was actually doing this a couple of days ago. I'll have a go at doing it again and get my husband to video it because it's lots of fun and it's a great memory to have where I started with my youngest on my hip and I was doing a bit of a dance with him. Then my older one wanted to join. So I had both kids and I'm pregnant at the moment. So technically 3 kids on me dancing around and I was knackered by the end, but we were laughing. We were having so much fun and it was such a grounding time, a place for connection. And I was feeling great after it. So were my kids. So having a go at doing things like that. And if you haven't done that before and you feel a bit silly, give it a go because sometimes that silliness can really release more fun and more joy in your life. And if you listen to any of these podcasts, more fun, more joy, less frustration is what I'm all about. If you want something a little bit simpler with rotation, just stir your cup of tea or stir your cup of coffee and just watch it going round. You've got that rotation going round and round. And that's something you do with your kids as well. My boys really like having cocoa, which is literally like an eighth or maybe a tenth of a teaspoon of cocoa and some warm milk with hot water, just enough to make it a little bit brown. And they enjoy stirring it. That can be a rotation as well. Okay. Next one is positioning. Now, positioning is one of these ones that adults quite enjoy. A lot of people don't grow out of positioning, where other schemas, kids and people seem to grow out of it more. But positioning is that carefully arranging objects in line or specific places, often with attention to detail. And I can see some of you nodding right now thinking, yes, that's me, or yes, I know someone very closely who is very into positioning. So, Hannah, how would you do positioning with self-care?
So I'm definitely a positioner. To the point, it's a bit cluttered, but I do love pretty little things and line them up. But what I was thinking with positioning is an act of love to your kid, but also if you're a person who enjoys positioning, it can be really fun setting up a wee PlayStation or a new play activity for your kid. It could be elaborate, doesn't have to be. It could be something as simple as just setting up a tray with some autumn leaves if you're in the season and seeing how they interact with the leaves, seeing if they throw them, seeing if they crunch them in their hand, or else, your wee toy garage with some wee cars. And yeah, I think it's an act of love to your child. So it can be really nice seeing that, seeing them enjoy it. But also, hopefully, it gives you a little bit of time to yourself to take a wee breather, have a mindful moment, or sneak to the kitchen and eat some chocolate out of sight, which I do.
And on those same lines, setting up things could be reorganizing a small area in a space that's for you. So it could just be something as small as your bedside table or where you keep your facial things, or it could be a kitchen bench or the lounge, somewhere where you just reorganize, putting things back where they go. It can really bring some calm and help you feel more comfortable in that space. Or setting up clothes for tomorrow, which may not seem too much like self-care, but if you know in the mornings are really rushed and that's something that really brings you stress, that simple act of positioning your clothes, whether it's yours or your kids or both, can help you feel less rushed the next day and a bit more in control, which can help with that self-care as the day goes on.
To add to that, I think I'm not quite sure whether it fits in positioning, but one odd tip I heard that I really is if you're having a day to pick cute and silly clothes for your child to wear. And I think that can be a really nice thing to do if you're having a hard morning, picking out and laying out either a particularly cute outfit or I'm known for my child's silly hats. So putting a silly hat or a favorite jumper on your child and just noticing again how that makes you feel. I find it very hard to stay frustrated when my dear Manaki looks little rappity, a little rabbit with his silly little ears. So that could be another fun thing you can do for positioning.
I love that. And I'll just add to that, which is off with schemas, but onto parenting. And kids can sleep in their clothes. So whether it's been a full day and they just don't want to get changed, it's okay. Or what we've done sometimes, especially we've got some busy mornings, is they get to choose their clothes the next day and sleep in them. And so the kids think it's really exciting because they get to sleep in their clothes already, not their pajamas. But for you, you know that's just that little bit of stress gone from the morning. So choosing fun clothes, letting them sleep in their clothes, that can be a really good way of just easing and making a bit more joy in your day. Okay, let's move to orientation. So orientation is exploring how things look from different angles. So it could be turning upside down, it could be hanging, it could be climbing. So what would you say, Hannah, how to do self-care with orientation?
One thing I love to do is look at trees. My son does too, which is really nice. So something you could do to do this is to simply go to a beautiful wooded area, go to a park, go to a reserve, somewhere that has good trees. Has to be a good tree, none of the spindly nonsense. And just lie down or just look up at those beautiful leaves. Enjoy seeing how the sun filters through, seeing if the leaves move. You can add to it, do a wee grounding exercise. So to add to your lovely experience of looking at these beautiful trees, you can do some really cool tactile grounding exercises. Feel the bark, notice the sun, all the rest of it. And the other is just a super simple breathing exercise where you're going up and down your fingers. Really good one to teach and use with kids. So you're breathing in as you go up, breathing out as you go down, and just doing that for your 5 fingers, making that a really nice, slow breathing exercise.
And sometimes it's such a great reminder that you've got all these strategies and techniques that people say to do with kids. They can be done with yourself as well. You're just a big flat heart. So anything you would do with your kids, you can do with yourself. And there's a lot of things you can do with yourself that you do with your kids as well. And it's really cool. So there's something called like modeling, which I'm really keen on. And modeling is just showing your kids how you do things. So you can show them, I'm just taking a breathe right now. And what I'm doing is I'm using my fingers to breathe up and breathe down. And then if you show them enough, you're not making them do it. What you might find is you might see them sitting down and doing it on their own. And that shows that they're learning from you and they've been gaining these good habits about how to do their own self-care and how to self-regulate and bring themselves back down.
I was just going to say, to add to that, another wonderful grounding exercise that I think every parent should know is, it's something I did before having children, blowing bubbles. So the act of blowing bubbles, it's wonderful for your breathing because it's slowing down your breathing. So in times where you're feeling panicked or you're just feeling a bit tight in your chest, slowing down to slowly blow bubbles and seeing them fly away, noticing them pop, is honestly one of the best breathing exercises you can do for in those times of heightened anxiety or when you just need a bit of joy. And obviously kids love that too.
That is so good. So for me, what I would do is lying down on the floor with my legs on the air. So what I do is I wiggle myself with my bottom up to the wall and put my legs against the wall so I can push on the wall, have my legs up. And I find that really good for grounding. In just a few minutes, shifts my viewpoint. So it's the orientation. You can watch your toddlers. Quite often, if I'm on the ground, they'll be jumping straight on me. So I know if I want to really relax, I've got to do it with them out of sight. Otherwise, just embrace the fact they're all over me. But I find that really grounding. Another one is just stretching. It's finding a pose, changing your position, changing your orientation to change your perspective, both physically and mentally, which is really good. Okay, we're getting in the homeward run now. So connection. Connection is an interest in joining things together. So it could be building, taping, tying, connecting things. So Hannah, what would you do for connection? We've talked about this a little bit before.
So connection for me is, I love connecting with people. And one thing I like to do to connect with my son is to write him notes or letters. So again, I find this to be a really good grounding activity where I'm overwhelmed by parenthood or feeling there's more I could be doing or there's I'm missing. Actually just take the time to write my son a letter, write the things that he's enjoying at the moment, write the things that I enjoy about him. Just writing the bits that you want to remember from this age, I think is a beautiful thing to be able to do for your child, but also for yourself. The other thing with connection, I think, is being in the company of someone who knows you really well. And there are times in life for me where this has been a counsellor. For me, I think there is few things in life that are as comfortable as being in a room with someone who knows you really fully. And sometimes that's a spouse and a friend and all these other wonderful people we have in our lives. Sometimes it's a professional. So I think that form of connection can be really helpful as well.
And just on that same note, sending a voice message to a friend can be a really good way of connecting because it can mean that you audibly hear them, even if you're not in that same place. And it can be kind of like a walkie-talkie tag where you just tag and tag and tag. You can put it playing while you're doing other things. Do you feel like that you've got that really good connection? If you don't have someone you can message, feel free to message me on Instagram. I do love hearing from people and I do love voice messages. So that's @play_schemas. And I would love to hear from you, especially if you can share with me some self-care or if you'd like any tips or tricks or strategies or just going, this thing is hard. Yes, it is. Okay. So after connection always comes disconnection. So rather than connecting together, we're taking things apart. You're breaking connections. You're knocking things down what have been built. So Hannah, what would you do for disconnection?
So standard me, I've got two things. The first is to do something really physically satisfying. It could be pulling out weeds, I think, or disconnecting weeds from the ground can be such a satisfying thing to do and wonderful if you've got a trajectory kid as well. My son clicks behind me and throws the weeds around and it's just glorious. Or cutting kindling or even breaking down cardboard to put in the recycling bin, just doing things that feel physically satisfying. If you're mad, you can do it weed aggressively and it's great. The second idea I had for disconnection is when you're doing something menial or you just need a break, put your earphones in and listen to a podcast or audiobook. For me, I've been doing this a bit recently when I've been breastfeeding my son to sleep. It can feel a bit monotonous and it can feel a little bit lonely when I'm sitting in his room and my husband's out in the lovely cozy lounge watching the TV. But I find for me, if I have an audiobook in, I'm still getting some input and it's at a time where I'm not interacting with my son. But yeah, it just feels like a really nice way to have a bit of me time while being present for my son.
That's such a great idea, is being able to use your brain in different ways while you're doing different tasks. For me, I've got two as well. So one is unfollow or mute draining social media accounts. Us all, I'm sure, have got lots of people and things that we're following that actually don't give us joy in life. So it can be really satisfying to delete, or unfollow. You can just clear your head again. The mental declutter can be just as satisfying as the physical one. And also putting your phone on silent, flight mode or sleep mode for half an hour. You can disconnect to reconnect. So you can just then reconnect with your thoughts, your cup of tea, or your toddler without being interrupted. So it's disconnecting from that social aspect where you're always being needed to be able to reconnect somewhere else. Okay, so transformation. Let's hit this one last. So transformation is exploring how materials or objects change, such as mixing, crushing, melting, imaginative play, role play. So Hannah, how would you do transformation?
For me, this is the magic one. I just think it is so fun transforming raw materials into something else. So that it's fruit and vegetables and other raw ingredients into some beautiful baking or a lovely dinner or weird little pancakes for your child. So satisfying. Or wreath making. I learned to do this during lockdown. And after being able to transform what is essentially a vine, oh no, it is a vine, it's a into something beautiful is just, it's beautiful. I love it. And if you've got grapes, if you've got wisteria, if you've got access to somewhere that is viney and overgrown, you've got everything you need to make a wreath. Learn to sew things from other things. Learn to make a teddy from a towel or kids' clothing from adults' clothing. I think there is such just magic in transforming things. And it doesn't have to be expensive, which I think is the best part of it. It can literally be free. I love it. The other thing I thought for transformation is doing a book or toy rotation for your child. So for me, when I do a book rotation for my son, I like picking books that I like to read, as well as, of course, his favourite's Harry McCleary. So that's always in the mix at the moment. But I pick books that I enjoy the rhythm of, or books that have soothing messages for me, words that I need to hear, or yeah, just books I enjoy reading. And I think that can be a really helpful way to look after yourself, because we're all going to be reading for a long time yet, I'm sure. So it's really lovely if you can pick books that spark your joy as well.
I love reading. And as Hannah came around today, she saw we've got books everywhere. And I just done a big declutter of books. And then I went to the library and got 15 more books out. I was like, why are we doing that? Because we love books and there's always new things to come in, which is so great. And especially having kids at different ages, there's different interests. And so we're not going to be getting rid of books anytime soon. For me, the transformation is the same as Hannah was saying. I love that cause and effect. That beginning, middle, end, seeing how things change. And so doing something creative, as we're saying at the start, that being creative can be a lot harder with little ones around. Thinking about how you can just do little snippets. So you could scribble in a journal, you can get some paint. What I've really enjoyed is watercolors, because it doesn't dry out and harden on your paintbrushes like acrylics. You could even get into the kids' Play-Doh on your own and create and sculpt something, or do it with them, but doing your own thing rather than following their lead. So thinking about how you can do things physically, where you can transform, change things from one to another. So that was a whirlwind of 2 episodes now where we broke it in half, because we love chatting about how we can do self-care with these play schemas. It is so important to look after ourselves. If you are struggling, make sure you do reach out to someone. As Hannah was saying, it could be a really good friend. Sometimes you do need a professional, and there are so many great counsellors out there. So reach out to maybe a friend who's been working with a counsellor to see if they'd recommend, or go online, find someone that you work with that you can gel with, because self-care, looking after yourself, getting the right help is so important, because the parenting journey, especially if you've got toddlers, has only just begun. We need to look after ourselves day after day, week after week, year after year, so that we can enjoy our lives and enjoy the time with our kids. So thank you, Hannah, so much for joining us today. I've absolutely loved chatting. I'm looking forward to having you around again when we're not trying to do a podcast, so we're not trying to keep it away and keep them quiet. Have a wonderful week, and same for everyone out there. Remember, today is a great day to play, and it is an even better day to look after yourself. So do that self-care. And if you're listening to this right when it goes live, have a happy Mother's Day, enjoy the weekend, and do something for you. See you later.
Ka kite.